You probably think the internet changed what you watch, what you buy, what you listen to. But the internet changed something much deeper than that. It changed the way you think, the way you feel, the way you see yourself, the way you see other people. And most people do not even realize it happened. Because the internet did not change society all at once. It changed millions of tiny behaviors, tiny habits, tiny expectations, tiny addictions. And over time, those small changes became an entirely different way of living. A way of living that feels normal now, but would have looked completely insane just 20 years ago. Today, people wake up and check notifications before they even get out of bed. They consume more information before breakfast than people used to consume in an entire week. They compare themselves to strangers. They argue with people they have never met. They absorb hundreds of opinions every day, and they rarely spend more than a few minutes alone with their own thoughts. The internet did not just give people more access to the world, it gave the world unlimited access to people. And this is where the real change begins. Because once the internet became the center of life, attention became the most valuable resource on Earth. Every platform started fighting for it. Every company started measuring it. Every creator started optimizing for it. Every app started engineering itself around it. And when attention becomes the product, human behavior starts changing to fit the system. This is why people feel more distracted than ever, why they struggle to focus, why they open one app and forget why they opened it, why they can't watch a movie without checking their phone, why silence feels uncomfortable. The internet trained people to expect stimulation every few seconds. And once your brain adapts to constant stimulation, normal life starts to feel boring. Books feel too slow. Conversations feel too long. Work feels impossible. Even rest starts to feel uncomfortable. Because a brain trained by the internet is not trained for peace, it's trained for novelty. And novelty is addictive. But this is only the surface, because the internet did not just change attention, it changed identity. For most of history, people built their identity slowly, through family, through community, through religion, through work, through the people physically around them. Now, identity is increasingly built through algorithms, through trends, through content, through what gets likes, through what gets attention, through what other people reward. People no longer just ask, "Who am I?" They ask, "How am I perceived?" Would people approve of this? Would this get engagement? Would this make me look successful? And once identity becomes performance, people stop living naturally. They start living publicly. That's why so many people feel pressure to document everything, to turn every meal into content, every vacation into proof, every opinion into a status update. The internet made private life feel incomplete. If nobody saw it, did it even happen? And that question is more dangerous than it sounds. Because once you start living for an audience, you slowly lose the ability to know what you actually want. You stop choosing based on meaning and start choosing based on appearance. That's why so many people feel lost now. In the last video, we talked about how modern life gives people infinite options while removing the structures that used to help them know who they are. The internet made that even worse, because now people are not only comparing themselves to their friends, they're comparing themselves to millions of people at the exact same time. And the algorithm always shows the most extreme examples, the richest, the most attractive, the most successful, the most productive, the happiest. The algorithm doesn't reward reality, it rewards envy, and envy destroys clarity. Because when you spend all day looking at other people's lives, you stop building your own. This is why people feel more insecure now. Not because they're weaker, but because they're being exposed to more comparison than any generation in history. And comparison changes behavior. It changes what people buy, what they want, what success looks like. It changes how much money feels enough money, how attractive feels enough attractive, how productive feels enough productive. The internet raised the standard for everything and made people feel behind all the time, even when they're doing fine. But this is where it gets darker, because the internet is not just shaping what people think, it's shaping what people believe is true. For years, people lived in the same reality. They watched the same news, learned similar facts, shared similar information. Now, everyone lives inside a different algorithm, a different feed, a different version of reality. Two people can search the same topic and leave with completely different beliefs about the world. Because the internet doesn't show people the truth. It shows people what keeps them engaged. And what keeps people engaged is usually not balance. It's outrage, fear, conflict, drama. That's why people feel more angry, more anxious, more divided, because outrage spreads faster than nuance. Fear spreads faster than truth, and algorithms are built to maximize time, not wisdom. The internet gave everyone a voice, but it also gave everyone a constant stream of noise. And noise makes it harder to think, harder to reflect, harder to know what matters. This is why boredom disappeared, and boredom used to be where people discovered themselves. Before the internet, people had more moments of silence, more time to sit with their own thoughts, more time to wonder, more time to reflect. Now, every empty moment gets filled instantly. Waiting in line becomes scrolling, walking becomes podcasts, eating becomes YouTube, lying in bed becomes TikTok. And when every second of your life is filled with input, there's no room left for introspection. You can't hear your own voice if the world is always talking. Convenience reduces awareness, and the internet made convenience available every second of the day. But people who escape this trap usually do one thing differently. They protect their attention. Because attention is not just what you look at. Attention is what builds your life. What you give attention to becomes your beliefs, your habits, your identity, your future. And once you understand that, you stop treating distraction like a small problem. You start seeing it for what it really is, a system fighting for control over your mind. The internet is not evil. It gave people access to knowledge, opportunity, connection, and information at a scale humanity has never seen before. But every powerful system changes people. And if you don't consciously decide how to use the internet will decide who you become. Because the people who stay in control are not the people who completely disconnect. They're the people who learn to separate what they want from what the algorithm wants. And that might be one of the most important skills in the modern world. If this video made you realize how deeply the internet shapes the way you think, the next thing you should watch is Why You Feel Lost. Because feeling lost is not random. It's often the result of living inside systems designed to overwhelm you, distract you, and keep you comparing yourself to everyone else.